I just want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. For too long, communities of color have suffered senseless police violence, and I support Black Lives Matter. We need to end racism and find empathy and love and justice for everyone.
Throughout everything that they've had to deal with this year, our students took it, you know, they took it upon themselves to organize and plan a rally protest regarding police brutality and racism. The way they handled it, working with the police, working with our town to make sure their message got heard and everyone stayed safe, really made me proud.
I want to say a special thank you to Councillor Gregory tonight for his strong leadership through this movement. And I'm so touched as a resident to have him as one of our elected leaders in town. And I think he serves as an inspiration to so many people in our community.
Obviously, the year 2020 is just not messing around. The last pandemic was 100 years ago. Can we say that there was equality in the world? Probably not. This pandemic, 2020, how about equality now? Too was really horrified by the murder of George Floyd. You know, we saw it right in front of our eyes. What happened was totally inexcusable, and I'm praying that he and his family are going to get justice.
Martin Luther King, as he said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter, right? And that really hit home for me. Sure, I'm not racist, right? But that's not good enough, right? Like I can do more. It's not just about me personally. It's about talking about it and trying to make a change for all society. So in my own life now as a counselor, things I'm going to start thinking about when policies come before us, when contracts come before us. Let's think about like social justice as part of that. That should be a part of our consideration. And I wouldn't have thought of that before, right? Like maybe I'm too much about the numbers in the past, right? And this is really giving me that chance to think about it, right? Like this is important, and that's something that I'm going to do and take forward.
Just really want to acknowledge the leadership of Mr. Gregory. Huge kudos to you, Mr. Gregory. It's a tremendous amount of leadership, and you know what I respect most, I think, about what's happened over the last couple of weeks is the desire to listen. The police that we have in North Attleboro, I've learned so much more about what's going on there as a result of this, and because of that, the murder of George Floyd, and let's make no question about it, that was murder. There are going to be outcomes that you know are positive, and learning more about the Path to Guardian training, that they're aspiring to be peacekeepers, not stormtroopers. And
when people say all lives matter as a response to Black Lives Matter, it's like saying when we had the most recent fire on North Washington Street, the fire department should spray down all the houses in North Attleboro, even though only one house is on fire, because all houses matter. Yes, your house matters too, but your house is not on fire. In fact, to put out that fire last week, it required mutual aid and a collaboration between surrounding towns to neutralize that fire. I strongly believe that's what it's going to take to dismantle racism, a joint effort and mutual aid to enhance the quality of life for all. With that in mind, I'll start with acknowledging all my fellow counselors, especially Council President Keith LaPointe and our fearless leader, Mr. Borg, for understanding the significance of making a joint statement to our community condemning the murder of George Floyd. I also want to acknowledge NAPD for being one of the first police departments in this region to issue a statement that was compassionate, empathetic, and answered all the questions posed by town officials and our residents. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the North Attleboro Public Schools Administration for also issuing a statement that addressed parent and student concerns about diversity efforts and denouncing the tragedy to Mr. Floyd, which leads me to a quote by the late, great Martin Luther King Jr. "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence of that by the good people." So, my response to folks asking me, what can they do? has been consistent and uniform across the board. One word: something. That something does not have to be vocal to break that silence. That something could be self-reflecting on your own hidden bias and how to dismantle them. That something could be taking the next step, which is to not just being comfortable with not being a racist, but making a stand and a commitment to being anti-racist. There's a big difference. That something could be donating time or money to an organization fighting racial injustice and systemic oppression. That something could be researching racism, so when and if it manifests, you can speak intuitively about it to friends and family. If we can all just do something, just something, on the other side of that something, we can all relish the notion of one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.